Hey, welcome back to my channel. I want to make this video addressing some of the comments on my video about Swoop's 4-hour video about Johnny's Silvestri. So if you haven't watched that, I made my opinion pretty clear that I think both are very wrong in this situation. Number one, Johnny has lied about things, and also allegedly, and I have to say allegedly because the last thing I want to do is get sued, but Johnny was also in group chats with minors, and he also video chatted with minors while he was an adult. And now I want to make it clear that I will never condone that behavior. I think that is always wrong. Unless you're like a teacher or something where you are in the I want to clarify here. I'm not saying teachers should be in group chats with minors, but if it's like something specifically for school and not for like a personal socializing thing. So I want to be clear, I am not condoning that at all. But I got a lot of comments saying that people didn't agree with me, and that's fine. I know people are going to disagree, and so some of their comments I do agree with, and that's why I wanted to make this video to clarify a few things. So my number one thing, and why I don't think Joshua should be just let off the hook, is he has admitted to giving Johnny his phone number while Johnny was still a minor. He hasn't denied that claim. I don't know if Swoop is planning on, if she, like when she interviewed Josh, if she addressed that, but in that 4-hour video, that was never really addressed. Even if Johnny was the one texting Josh the majority of the time, which is what it seems like, but of course we can never truly know what went on in an interpersonal relationship unless we were one of the parties involved, in which case none of us besides those two people were. But no matter what, Josh still gave a minor fan of his wife's his phone number and said, use this whenever you need it. That was not appropriate. There's no excuse for that. Now, do I think Johnny kind of exaggerated and made up things? Yes. And do I think that's wrong? Yes. But that doesn't absolve Josh of what he did, because he still did what he did. So even if the way Johnny is acting now and the way he's and that he's done that to minors himself, what Josh did is still wrong, and I think it needs to be addressed. Also, I want to go back to the whole tiny chats thing where Colleen and Joshua and Trent were allegedly watching these children in these video chats for hours and not showing their face. If Josh was involved in that, again, that is something that cannot be glossed over, and no matter what he's going through now, that is still wrong. And I think that is where Swoop really missed the mark. I think she got angry because Johnny lied to her, and I think she let that get the best of her. Also, I do think to some degree she does like to sensationalize things to get more clicks. A lot of people commented on my last video that, like, given her coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it's not surprising that she would like sensationalize this for views. So this tells me it's not just me who kind of sees her flair for the dramatic, and I'm not saying she's a bad person, but I will say she definitely does kind of drum up drama for views. It's clear even in the editing style, and I know she has a team of people behind her, but I would assume if it's your channel, you still get the final say. Like, you who look at the edits, or at least I would hope you would, and be like, this is kind of coming across as like a TMZ-esque thing rather than like a serious thing. One person did comment, she always says it's not drama, it's dangerous, and that's great that you're saying that this is more than drama, that I see this as more than drama, but at the same time, if you're editing it in a way and using clickbait and making claims that there's this underground grooming ring that you never really prove, then it still is drama, even if you want to make that claim, and you're still kind of portraying it as drama. Now, I also want to get to the whole grooming ring thing. I think this may be an issue of maybe my understanding of what that term means, or maybe just a confusion. But when I hear grooming ring, I think of like the whole Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, I think of a very organized thing that's very calculated, and I don't see that with Johnny or even Colleen. And I'm not saying what they did was okay, but I am saying as of now, I have yet to see something that would tell me that they're in this grooming ring. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe my definition is off, but I think of it as a very like calculated and organized type of a thing, and I don't get that vibe from this. I'm not saying it's not possible, but as of now, for Swoop to make those claims, I still think it is a bit of an exaggeration. Now, again, I want to say that I am not condoning Colleen Ballinger or Johnny Silvestri's behavior, but I'm not convinced that that was what that was. I'm not saying what they did was alright, because it wasn't, and it was still, in my opinion, grooming. But this whole underground ring thing, I'm not convinced. I know he has this friend, Tim, who's allegedly also groomed people. But again, I don't think that's a ring. I think these are just people with not good intentions, and they kind of flocked to each other. Maybe that is what a ring is. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but that is what I believe about that. And as far as Johnny like victim blaming and victim shaming. Again, I think that's gross, and for him to do that to Swoop is gross. It is. There's no way around that. But also, I never I never condoned that behavior, and I never would. So that is something I would like to clear up. That's never something I condone, is victim blaming and victim shaming. But at the same time, and this is something I will say that may be a bit controversial, but when people say, oh, Johnny's parents knew he was talking to Joshua, therefore it was not grooming, I don't agree with that. A lot of times, parents, especially if their kid is like a loner or doesn't have a lot of friends, they may just be like, oh, well, at least now he has a friend. But them knowing about it doesn't let Joshua off the hook. And I do think that is where a lot of people are wrong in that situation, is them say, oh, well, his parents knew about it. And yeah, do I think it's wrong that Johnny tried to conceal that fact a lot of time, or at least not even try to conceal, but he conveniently left that out of the story. So that obviously does not look good. It doesn't. But also I wanna stress that parents knowing about something doesn't mean it's not grooming. And yeah, those are just my thoughts. Again, this is probably an unpopular video, but I also want to make clear, I don't hate Swoop. I don't. But I also do see a lot of red flags when it comes to the pop psychology, when it comes to the she has done body language analysis in the past, and then in this video, which somebody commented, she wrote, no, she said, I'm not gonna analyze Johnny's body language. I'm gonna leave that to the experts, like, observe. But she also framed it in a way like, I'm not gonna analyze his body language, but just know that it is suspicious. That was kind of the vibe I got from that statement. I'll try to find the clip. But again, body language analysis has a lot of issues. A lot of people say it is junk science. A lot of people say it is ableist and does not always take into account that you can't necessarily read somebody's body language, and it can just cause more harm than good. So that's another thing I didn't say in that video, but it's a big issue, and I really hope in the future Swoop will consider not promoting that, because it can cause a lot of harm, even if she doesn't like Johnny, even if Johnny is in the wrong, which I agree Johnny is in the wrong, but that still does not mean that you can analyze his body language and tell, oh, he's guilty of this because, oh, look, his eyes are shifty. My eyes are shifty. Then I'm guilty all the time, I guess. Anyway, yeah, those are just my thoughts. I know a lot of people are like, body language analysis isn't ableist. And maybe, I don't know. I still don't think it is an exact science, and I think that is an issue with it. So I have not seen evidence that it is actually based on fact. So yeah, but But anyway, thank you for watching. If you learned something, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you'd like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.